and today I'm going to bring you a live stream where I'm going to talk you through kind of different tips, tricks, preparations, everything you'll need to do, and how I kind of get prepared for big events like the YCS 250th, which is happening in 3 different areas next weekend. So I thought I'd do this in a live stream so that we can kind of, if you do have any questions, if you've got anything you want to ask me, I can go over that. I'll also be able to show you different kind of layouts of the map. We can talk about, if you say, oh, I want to have a look to see what this deck can look like, or any kind of demos you need or want to know of with different kind of layouts or anything like that, then I'm more than happy to help you. So sorry if I sound a little bit groggy, I'm a little bit ill, I've got a bit of a cold, but warm up and go from there. Anyway, so yeah, very, just going to warm it up a little bit. I didn't really post the time of when I was going to go live, so I'll probably give it about 10 minutes before I dive too much into it. But any early joinees, if you have any questions, by all means, now is the time to kind of get onto that. I can also start to prep a dark vision list, which is the next update that I'm going to be doing for tomorrow. So that'll be the new profile that goes down tomorrow. And yeah, now I'm just generally getting ready for YCS 250th. So that's going to be, I'm going to the London one, obviously. So it's down the road, not so far away. That's funny. The music is quite loud. Okay. Let's clear this one. There you go. That should be better. You should just be getting voice now. I'm going to boot up Neuron. Neuron is going to be very important for everyone. And I'll try and go through Neuron at the same time as well, so that you guys can kind of... Obviously this isn't the ideal way of doing it, but kind of go from there. So you can go and, because this is now part of the preparation process. So Neuron is the go-to of what you're going to need to do, because it's how everyone submits their deck list. It's how everyone pre-registers for the events and everything like that. So yeah, I'll go through Neuron as well. I'll show you how you build your deck and everything else. I don't think I've actually built my deck yet. My decks. Nope, I haven't built my decks yet. So you can kind of see from here that I've only ever built... so this is a Gate Guardian demo one that I built as I was on the train back from work one time. Lol. Dark Magician Branded, Punk, and Exo Sisters. So you can see that this Exo Sisters is dated the 19th of the 8th, which was basically last year's Euros. Yeah, last year's Euros. So I use an app. I'm pretty sure you can do it on Neuron. I'm not as versed on Neuron this one. I'm pretty sure you can do test stands, right? Can't you? So yeah, you can kind of see where the deck list is. But the idea is that when you're getting preset, you go to events. And then you've got confirm and manage my tournaments. And then when you click on that, it will show you, so we'll click on that. You can see that I've got no tournaments happening today. If I click on my upcoming tournaments, you'll be able to see that I am registered for the YCS in London. I've got the date, it's giving me the capacity, which I think is really kind of cool. And then when you click into it, you get all of your personal details in regards to like, have you registered, I don't know why I've got a camera up here and I haven't zoomed in, so there you go, let's do it that way. So you'll get everything. So let me just double check this off screen. I don't want to be showing any. Oh yeah, cool. That's what we show. Just in case, want to be careful. Yeah, so I'll take this back to the home screen so that everyone can see where you're at. Rushdoll, yeah, okay. So basically, so when you open up the Neuron app, this is where you come into. You go to events at the bottom, confirm/manage my tournaments, and then you'll see, you click on upcoming tournaments, you'll see what you've got coming up, and this means I've got the green up here which shows that I'm registered, and then the way this all works is you click register, but you've got to add your deck in. So when you add this on, you basically, you can put your deck together, you can draw a hand of 5, and you can do like demo testing and everything else. Now obviously I haven't got anything in here, there's nothing built, but this is how you basically submit your deck list. So you're no longer submitting paper deck lists, which is really, really important. So yeah, Neuron is the the way of the future. I know there's been a lot of people, so you're supposed to combine this with your physical Konami ID, and then you get a Neuron ID when you load it up. And then there's like a way where you have to uninstall the app, reinstall the app to kind of connect them up. But if you're having trouble with them and you're not hugely tech savvy, then you can also get the help you need for that on the day at the YCS. So you go to the YCS, they'll help you kind of sync them up. Some of them are glitches. Like last one at Euros, I had trouble getting everything signed up, which is a bit of a pain in the arse. But yeah, they'll help you out, you'll get you sorted, and go from there. The only thing I don't know fully is I think people have been given 2 different registration dates. So like my one says the 31st, but my one says the 31st, 11 to 11. And some people say the 1st of the 4th, 11 to 11, so. Yeah, that's basically what well, I'm going to go register on the Friday anyway. You kind of want to get down there the day early, you want to kind of make sure, yeah, you want to get down there a day early. You want to be able to be prepared, set up. The idea as well is, like, they haven't told us yet for certain, but I'm pretty sure that you get that you have to submit your deck list by 7 PM on the Friday. Otherwise, you get a round 1 game loss. But I could be completely wrong on that. So yeah, keep that in mind. That's definitely something you need to be aware of. That you're going to want to make sure you have your deck list ready, and then kind of go from there. So that's kind of that's what I want to kind of take you guys through today, is like, what do you need to have and what is it worth having when you're getting prepared for a big event. So obviously you'll need your deck. That's your first port of call you're going to need. You'll need obviously side deck, extra deck, you name it. So you'll need everything here. And then what I would advise to take, so you've obviously got your deck box, and this is something quite important as well, is on your deck box, if you're able to, on the inside, whether you put your Konami card inside or whether you just put a bit of paper or something taped to the deck that has your Konami ID to it, it's one of those occasions where if your deck does get lost, you have something in it that will identify you straight away. So if you go to like the Lost and Found, or you ask if anyone's handed in your deck list, they'll then be able to go, okay, if you've got ID, and then you can show them ID and it will match the Konami card inside. Or if you've got your Konami ID in it, you go from there. Like there was a dude, I saw a video years ago where a guy lost his deck list at an event, or lost his deck at an event. He got it back like 4 years later. But it was like a max rarity Bujin deck, and because he put his Konami ID inside the deck box, or had his number on the inside of the deck box, they were able to kind of identify him. And then he said, "Look, I've lost my deck box. Here's my name and details." And they found it, matched it up, gave him a call, and then shipped it back out to him. I think it was in a different country or something like that. It's also worth having another pack of sleeves. So for example, if I'm going to use the same sleeves that I've got here, then I need to make sure that I've got a second pack with me, just in case on those odd chances that throughout the day, like if you're going to be doing like 7 to 8 rounds, maybe even more, sleeves will get messy, sleeves will get damaged. So for example on these, I probably just need to take another pack of the outer sleeves, because then my inner sleeves will be completely clean and I just swap them over halfway through a round. You will then need to do some shuffles just to kind of, not ruggy them up, but because as soon as you put on fresh new sleeves, they're always going to be puffy and they're always going to be sliding around the place. But it's definitely ones to not get caught out on and don't get game losses for, is sleeves. So always make sure you've got a second pack of sleeves around. You can pick up 2 packs from a vendor's. A lot of people, what they'll usually do is they'll re-sleeve their deck just before round 1, or like the night before round 1, so it's ready to go for the next day. And then they'll have a second pack that they can kind of swap out if they need to later on in the day. My other bit of advice would be to take a second deck, And the reason I say to take a second deck with you is because there are side events. So there's loads of different side events, so it's definitely worth taking a backup deck with you. And the reason you take a backup deck with you is side events can be anything from Edison formats. You'll need to bring like an Edison deck or a GOAT deck, or they'll just be like winner mats, and you're paying £8, and you're guaranteed to get. I believe you're guaranteed to get an OTS pack. You definitely get something, I believe, for paying, because that's the whole idea behind Konami, is that you get back what you put in at minimum. So yeah, taking a second deck with you is always going to be worth it, and it was always going to be a little bit of fun, because then when you hit a side event, or if you scrub out the main event and you want to go out and play for a bit of fun, you can play something else, change it up, because it can get very, very boring. There's loads of different events, so there's like 3v3s, there's tag duels, there's Time Wizard format, there's winner mats is basically the basic minimum things. So that's where it's like 8 people go head to head, single elimination. If you win 3 rounds, you get given tokens, and the tokens can be exchanged in at the end of the when you've got them. And I believe you get, when you win one of those 8-person things, you get enough tokens to get you a mat. So it's technically a winner mat. If you win your first game, you get 1 token, which equals an OTS pack. And ultimately, if you win that entire thing and you get enough for a mat, which I think is something like 20 OTS tokens or 20 tokens, you can trade them in for OTS token cards, or you can trade them in for OTS packs as well. So you've got the best of both worlds for everything like that. The one thing you'll never be like fully certain on is sometimes will be your side deck. So you can always take some extra cards with you and then change them up. Not obviously after you've submitted your deck list, but you can kind of change them up so you're prepared for everything. And like, you might get to an event, and even though you're going to see a fraction, like we've already seen that we're expecting 3,600 people in London. In the American YCSs, you're probably going to be expecting a lot more. So yeah, that's definitely something to kind of keep in mind, that you could definitely be looking at a lot more. A lot more range of decks, a lot more people, and everything else. So you always make sure you take some extra cards with you in case you want to change it up at the last minute. In case you see someone testing and you're like, oh, actually maybe the deck that I've got prepared and ready isn't going to be the level that I want it to be. Maybe I want to kind of change it up. Maybe I want to do it a little bit differently. Or if you sleep on it, you kind of go, oh, actually maybe I don't want to be using that kind of card either. So that's kind of what it is. And my other kind of tip is the night before, so the Friday, after you've registered, put your deck down. Don't do any more testing. Just go and rest, sleep. Take a Nintendo Switch to your hotel room with you if you want to, play that, hang out with friends, go downstairs in the bar area, hang out with other players, but do not play the deck you're going to play tomorrow. Like, if anything, play a different format. Play Go. What a lot of my lot used to like doing is we used to love playing Love Letter, Unstable Unicorns, just fun little other card games that are still interactive with each other, get a good laugh going, and it kind of just gives you a break from everything. Because the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to saturate everything. You can't constantly keep playing the same deck, because you will burn yourself out. Get a decent night's sleep. You're going to want to be up early in the next morning. Make sure you get food. Make sure you've got water with you. There are water fountains at the London Excel, so you will have the ability to go and refill your waters or refill your bottles. There are food vendors inside the Excel as well. There's also a Tesco's just outside, down the main walkway, so you can always go out. The issue is you never know how much time you're going to have between rounds, so unless you finish early and then run out to grab bits. So I would say stack up, get a pack of sweets, get a pack of Haribos, or just something to keep your sugar levels up throughout the day, and then a bottle of water if you're tight on money, and then if not, there's Costa's in the whole foyer and everything else. So it's a really nice venue. And then it depends if you're travelling in and out each day, or if you're going to be staying at a hotel or an Airbnb or anything like that. So yeah, this is Track Tricks. I just kind of thought, while we're talking this, while I'm waiting for some questions to come in, that I'll do a couple of test stands with Track Tricks. Obviously, not that it's just a deck that I haven't picked up for a little while. It kind of got a little bit too much. But yeah, obviously I've got Brandon over here as well. So that's what I'd probably do, and then, like I said, just kind of prepare yourself for the weekend. It's going to be a long weekend. You will get tired, which is why I say, like, obviously, if you're only just coming out with friends, or like you're meeting players from different parts of the country, that I believe that there's going to be some Americans coming over. There's going to be some Europeans coming over as well. So it's definitely a time to catch up and socialise with friends. Just make sure you get a good night's sleep if you are going to go into day 2, because day 2 will catch you by surprise. You will be up early, ready to go, well in time. Anyway, so with a hand like this, we're in kind of a good position. We're going to normal summon a Momelo. Melo's effect will then go off. Now, you've got a couple of options here. You could go for the Holotier because you can get rid of the trap trick and then recycle it, which is definitely worth doing. But if you want another trap hole card, then you can do it a little bit differently as well. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions, like whether it could be rulings, like, what did we find out the other day? Oh yeah, there's a really important thing in regards to time rules. So with time rules, and these should be implied at local level as well, but apparently the way time rules work is when time is called, if a player has passed all priorities to move into the next phase. So for example, if my opponent has said, I want to move into the battle phase, and time gets called, and I go, hang on a minute, I've got a card I want to activate in the main phase, that's completely fine. But the way it works is, as long as my opponent does not respond to the card I'm about to activate, that is me saying that once I've activated and resolved this, and resolved all of my actions, that is the last thing I want to do to move, and I agree to move into the battle phase. So basically, you can't hold an opponent hostage in a phase. So, for example, if I activate a card that special summons me a monster from the deck, and my opponent goes, yeah, that's fine, I'm not responding to that whatsoever, I summon that monster, we then move into battle phase, they can then conduct their battle phase, even though time was called during the main phase. What can't happen is, you can't, so number one, if my opponent responded with Ash Blossom on that card that special summons a monster from the deck, that would then be them saying that we stay in the main phase because he's responded to it, and it goes back to the main phase because then priorities then start again. So it stays in the main phase, they don't get to go to battle phase. You can't still be comboing in main phase and go, oh, I want time gets called, you're still comboing in the main phase, and you go, oh, I wanted to move to the battle phase. No, time is called in main phase, my opponent is still comboing, they're halfway through a combo, they haven't said that they want to pass priority to go to the battle phase, time's been called, you're stuck in the main phase. So that's why it's very important to be aware of everything that is time related as well. Anyway, carrying on with this, we set the Holotier off of the back of the Momelo. We're going to set the Shade Brigandine because we've got no traps in the graveyard. We're going to turn this into a Seller. We're then going to activate the Shade Brigandine as Chainlink 1, and then we'll go Chainlink 2, Holotier, discarding the Trap Hole Nightmare, and this will spawn us 2 traps. We'll then get to trigger the Sarah's effect, which will allow us to summon a trap trick from the deck. Wherever she may be. Where are you, Dioneer? And then we go Dioneer. Now I think it's going to have to be, yeah, no, that's right. And then Trap resolve, then Dioneer resolves, then Dioneer's effect will resolve, resetting the trap tricks, Trap Hole Nightmare. I'm not sure if there was actually like a benefit of doing this. I'm not too sure. I think it pretty much ends the same. I think I just get to add a link 2 to the board if I wanted to. So I probably could have held back the Shade Brigandine, to be fair. Either way, you're definitely going to be able to overlay. Oh no, I can go one more. I won't be able to get Time Thief Reader, but I will be able to get a little bit more. Penigula, we'll put Holotier to the graveyard. This will then allow us to add, and we're going to add Arachnocamper. There we go. Trigger Sarah's effect. Sarah will let us set a trap hole card, so make sure you're setting a trap hole that you've already got like one of in the deck. I quite like putting Floodgate. I like having double up because I play 2 Floodgates. So Princess Leia Organa, how frequent does time being called on game 3? Like we have to make space inside deck in case time has been called. Haven't experienced it themselves. It's very tricky. And what I mean by that is the higher level of players, so the higher experienced players, you'll see 9 times out of 10 they won't have anything in their side deck to deal with time, because they'll either naturally have a card that can deal with time in the deck. What I mean by that is you're not going to see everyone be playing Ghost Spooky Dogwood. However, if you have space in your side deck to put in Spooky Dogwood and your deck doesn't have a natural way to either burn your opponent during their turn or burn your opponent during your turn, then you might want to consider it. And the reason I say that is because of these new time rules, people use that as a way to get a win con out of it. People will play a little bit slowly. That is the big difficult kind of part with these rules, is that it's very, very tricky. It's very tricky to kind of... it puts you in an awkward position as well, because you don't want to be that person that sits there and goes, "Oh, come on, man! Come on, man! You've now taken exactly 3 minutes 45 seconds. You haven't done anything." Like, you don't want to be that person, but there is like a boundary. There is a limit. So officially, when you're siding between game 1 and game 2, game 3 and game 2 and game 3, you'll have 3 minutes to side. So technically, if your opponent has already sided in their cards, they shuffled everything up, and then they start to riffle shuffle, you go, hang on a minute, you've had 3 minutes, you're not allowed to do that, and you're well within your right to call the judge over. You just don't want to be that guy that's like, yo, sharking kind of thing. Unfortunately, people will take the piss. People will take it to a next level. Will take it a little bit too far. People will use time as a win con, but they'll use time as a win con as in playing slow. And the best way to see this is during game 1, if they get to win the dice roll, you'll see them play at a medium level pace, because they'll check that you've got anything. They're like, okay, cool, I've probably got game 1 because I've got to go first. Everything else, they'll do it at a pace. Game 2, if they start to lose ground in that one, you'll start seeing them make you move faster. They'll be checking their watch. They'll be checking the time consistently, because then the plan would be that when it hits 4 minutes, they'll scoop up, they'll side, they will spend 3 minutes to side, and then they'll say, right, I'm going first. And then as soon as they've drawn, they technically have enough time to sit there and think and play a card, sit there and think, play a card, and time gets called in their main phase, which at that point, when time gets called, they don't care. All they know is that they've put a card that will let them win in time. So they will then be able to go, okay, cool, so we're in the main phase now. We're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Oh, affected this, burn you for life points. Life points are now different. Okay, move to my end phase. And that's it. Because they finished the main phase, time's already been called in the main phase, it ends the turn there. And they will have won because they've burnt you. So it's definitely something you need to be aware of. For local levels, you have to experience it. You have to go to a local environment and go, okay, this might actually happen. I need to be a bit careful on this one. At bigger events, if you're going to do incredibly well, I expect it to be very rare that that's going to happen to you. But unfortunately and sadly, it does. If you have the space to put in Dogwood, then by all means, go for it. Carrying on with this combo, so we've searched that Arachnocampa off the Panicular. We're then going to special summon down the Arachnocampa. You could have held this back if you want to, but I want to add an additional XYZ. I do play straight into Nibiru on this one, by the way, so if you want to dodge Nibiru, you hold back the trap card and use it during your opponent's turn. So we're ending our board here. We've got an Ash Blossom. We've got Sarah that's going to be able to trigger, and by triggering off Sarah, we've got Trap Hole, we've got Floodgate, and then we've also got Rafflesia. We've also got Holotea in the graveyard that can bring back Mamelo, which will deal with back row. We'll then have the ability off of Sarah to set another Trap Hole card if we want to. We also have the ability to special summon out Pudika. Pudika will banish one of our opponent's monsters, and then Panicular can then attach it as material. Plus we've got Ash Blossom, so ultimately, very powerful board. If you're worried about Nibiru, you play a little bit differently. I don't think Kaiju's the end of the world on that one, because the Kaiju either gets rid of Rafflesia or he gets rid of Sarah. Personally, I'll probably get rid of Sarah, because Sarah would lead me to gain back a bit of advantage. If you Kaiju and then evenly me, whoa, my god, that's going to suck some serious. So yeah. If you don't have any more questions as you're watching, by all means put them in the chat and I will very happily answer them. I'll probably see how this chat goes or how this stream goes, and I'm either going to continue and go through 8:30 or go to 9 o'clock, depending on how interactive it gets. But yeah, I'm preparing for YCS 250th. I haven't decided what I'm fully going to commit to play to yet. I've got like 2 or 3 decks, and then I want to make sure I bring a fun deck, because when I get to a side event, what you don't want to be doing is you don't want to be playing the same deck, the same list, the same way that you've played it in everything else, because it just gets boring. And you'll also find when you go to side events, especially on the Sunday, you'll get a couple of local casual players, and then you'll also just get a couple of winner mats where go from there. Why no main and cross? Okay, Red Ed. Why no main and cross out in what deck? And Joanna Daxner. What is the position do you think is Pen right now? Unfortunately, with Pendulums, the issue is Kashtira can zone lock 2 zones very easily, very quickly. As soon as they know you're on Pen, they lock your Pendulum zones, and it is very, very difficult for you to play. Because you will need to open up a way to out that Shangri-La. If you do, you're good to play. And I feel the other issue is as well that Pens... So for Pens to be competitive, Pens need to play around the Biru, which is near enough a staple right now, and they have to play around everything else. Why am I not maining Crossout? Because I main this guy. It's the only reason. So the way I see this is with with this, I'm already playing 3 Fusion Destiny. Not Fusion Destiny, sorry. Fusion Deployment. So I'm already playing these, so I'm not adding anything else to my deck. The only thing I'm adding is a Neospatian in the main deck, and I'm adding the Storm Neos in the side deck. So I'm adding 2 cards, 1 in the main, 1 in the side. The only benefit of Crossout is if I'm worried about Imperm, which I can play around that, and if I'm worried about Nib, which again I can play around that. So if I was to put Crossout in here, I'm going to increase my use of 1 space in the main deck to 3 spaces in the main deck, and that's on the assumption that I'm already main decking Imperms, Ashes, and Nibirus. So that's why I've gone with the other engine. But personal preference. I did have someone that was playing branded at an OTS, and he did have Crossout, and he used Crossout on Ash, and it pretty much allowed him to build his first turn board. So Angel Mora. This is my first YCS, and I'm running branded with the Nightmare Lock. Yep, but I'm confused on how Nightmare locks my opponent out if I'm the one who special summoned it. I would appreciate the explanation. So the Puppet Lock, it doesn't activate because of the person that summoned it. It activates on the board that it's summoned to. So when you activate Expulsion, there you go. So the idea is you're going to activate Expulsion, and 9 times out of 10 these are the 2 targets in your graveyard. So Expulsion reads, tribute a fusion monster, target 2 non-fusion monsters that are banished or in either graveyard. Special summon both monsters, 1 to each field. So you would summon the Aluba. There's no way you want to give Aluba to your opponent, and you give your opponent the Gimmick Puppet. These then activate on the fields that they are summoned to. So Aluba would activate. I am activating Aluba. Gimmick Puppet is activating, but because it's on my opponent's field, they are activating it, not me. So the Gimmick Puppet puts its restrictions on them, not me, which is why this card is annoying. Like, this card, someone was giving me jib about this today, and I was like, are you out of your mind? He was like, well, if you go second, that's it, it's an auto-lose. I was like, well, it's not an auto-lose. And why would you not, like, I can understand why you could arguably not want to main it, but also, why would you not want to main it? Like, surely knowing that you've got a card that you can, like, apart from the fact that these are both bricks if you see them on their own, but, like, if you see the Expulsion, as long as you can get the Gimmick Puppet to the graveyard, that's it, you win that game. The only game you don't win when you activate Expulsion and give them Gimmick Puppet is if they're playing Traptrix or Labyrinth and they've opened up all back row, no monsters. Because then their back row will see them through and will defend them. And even then, in Trap Tricks, if you don't actually summon any of the monsters or play into any of their trap cards, you just pick it apart and you win anyway. So, yeah, that's how this guy works. Hope that's answered your question. Argaron the Creator. Hey man, I am good. I'm a little bit under the weather, but other than that, a little bit good. How about you? How is everything your side? So, I hope that's answered your questions, Redhead. I hope that's answered your question, Jonna, and I hope that's answered your question, Angel. But yeah, I really liked Pendulums because Pendulum Draco Slayers definitely had that bump, which is really, really nice. And then they kind of just disappeared when Kashtira turned up. But yeah, the issue is that Kashtira just goes, okay, cool, Zone Lock left spell, Zone Lock right spell, and then if the Pendulums haven't opened up a way to out that, it's GG. Especially in the Dracos, because you need your Pendulum Scale straight away to get your free special summons and everything. Pendulum Magicians are cool, but I feel that Pendulums all kind of share the same issue right now, that they are very, very gas heavy. So they're very aggressive. And they put everything out on the board. Like, it's difficult for them for you to break their first turn board, but it's also very difficult for them to break a first turn board. Well, that's an interesting hand. I guess we're going normal summon Arachnicampa. Turn that into Sarah. By the way, I have a few questions about Branded. By all means, go for it. Sorry, I'm trying to catch back up. I don't know. I feel only one engine gets you nowhere this format. I feel only one engine gets you nowhere. Well, see, the thing is, if you're only going to... So this is a response to Redhead, and we'll catch up as we go. So, are you saying that you would play 3 crossouts and the Aquadolphin? Because if you are going to play the 3 crossouts and the Aquadolphin, that's fine. It's not really one engine. It is a little bit tricky with this deck, because yes, an Ash Blossom on the Branded Fusion, it's like, do they see Ash? Yes, again, do they see Ash? You've really got to keep this in mind though, right? If you were to play Crossout and Aquadolphin, okay? Because your argument is exactly the same. If they imperm your Aluba, and you've opened up Branded Fusion and they still have Ash, Crossout can only deal with one of them. It can't deal with both of them. So you're in the same argument of, if I activate Fusion Deployment and get Aquadolphin out, and Aquadolphin gets impermed, and they hold the Ash, where'd you go? I think that's the weakness of Branded, but it's also what I feel keeps Branded grounded a little bit and keeps them balanced, is the fact, like, it sucks that Ash Blossom does blow them out, and I have considered looking at going back to the Edging Engine, but I just don't feel that it's as good as it is. A lot of people are relying on Cartesia now, so they're playing 2 Cartesias rather than 1, and they're relying on her to be their answer to if your opponent gets an Ash Blossom. The very simple answer is if your opponent has an Ash Blossom and you do not have the answer, it is going to be very difficult for you to continue to play. It just is what it is, unfortunately. That's the... Because like, if it was like, if Branded Fusion was after this card resolves, you're locked into fusions, so like it has to fusion summon to lock you into them, fine. But the fact is they can activate it and still ash it. They can still ash your ash you under Branded Lost as well, which is really, really sucks. So by the way, I have a few questions about Branded, more precisely in my deck. Go ahead. Angel Mora, I did, thank you. I'm actually going to be running your build of Branded, so I'm going to be representing you out here in LA. Your deck builds and explanation helped me a lot. I'm glad you found that. I wouldn't, please make sure you tested the deck inside and out. There might be some cards that don't work for you. By all means, change them up. I'm more than happy to help you with them. Branded does have a lot of different variations. Like, for example, I've got Regained in my version, and I'm considering taking that out. And as Redhead has said, I've seen people play Super Poly, people are main decking Kaijus. It really depends on how you want your deck to play. and kind of work around it in that sense. Are you running that Dragon Knight, the Keeper of Dragon Magic? I'm not, purely because this deck has, like, your main normal summon is Aluba. Like, that's what you want. You don't want to open up this in Dragon, because it's just like, oh, bro, no. Yes, Keeper of Dragon Magic is quite nice, but if you're going to go for an engine that searches you out poly and you're going to use up 3 spaces for Dragon Knight, you're better off just going for the Edge Imp package. I am quite partial to increasing the Buy-Steal package, because then it's also another one of them ones where it's like, well, if I do get ashed, I still have Buy-Steals that can help me play depending on what else I have in my hand. So, yeah, it really comes down to personal preference. There's a lot of edits and changes that you can kind of make and make it your own. Chaos Emperor of Dragons. Hello. To play in the side events, do you need to drop from the main event? You do, yeah. So you can register for the side events, but the chances are you're still going to be, like, there's no way, there's not enough time between rounds for you to be playing side event and main event. So you can, basically the way it works is you go on Friday, if you're talking about Friday anyway. So you go on to the Friday, the day before the event even starts, like the day before the main event starts. Do as many side events as you possibly want that day, no worries, not whatsoever. Then on the Saturday, you'll probably end up playing round 1 and you'll play round 2. And then if you're doing well, you'll probably stay in. If you're not doing well, you'll probably consider dropping. And then once you drop, that's it. You can go and play side events. So there is no, like, annoyingly, and this is one thing you'll also see as well, is when a giant card tournament comes on, you'll see a lot of people that if they're like X2 or something, they'll start to drop from the main event, because, like, to make day 2, you need to be X2 or X3 by the end of it, and then to get to the top 64 from 3,600 players, you're going to need to be X2 or better. So it kind of gets to a point where it's like, you know what, I've lost round 1 and 2, I'm just going to take my entry prizes and I'm going to go do side events. I want to play a different deck, or I want to try this deck against different stuff, everything else. Rot 10. Does Floodgate Trap Hole negate effects that activate on summon? No, sir, it does not. Unless the card says, like, this card needs to stay face up to resolve, or anything like that. Floodgate doesn't negate anything. It will make cards fizzle and miss timing, but again, it doesn't negate. The card will still resolve. So, did you realise any routes Keeper provided that you can't get in this version? Or it provides the same combo routes as your current version? Not really. Like, if I was going to play Keeper, I play Keeper in the Predaplant version, which is really fun. I really do enjoy the Predaplant version. And what I like about the Predaplant version is just searching out Super Poly's great. Searching out Fusion Destiny's great. I really want to get back to playing that. That's another thing that's come up into my attention. Is one of my friends is building Heroes again. And Heroes are really, really fun right now. So there's there's a couple of different options for Heroes that I really like. I've seen, like, an OTK Go second build, which I want to kind of trial and play out, but I'm just still not kind of ready to play it yet. Okay, cool. Another half decent hand, actually. So we're going to normal summon Mantis. Mantis effect will trigger. We'll search us out a Traptrix monster. I'm actually going to search out an Arachnocamper. I could have activated Tantalizing Tune a little bit earlier there, actually, because then if I draw into a Pudica, I can get 2 more. Yeah, so definitely go Friday. Like I said at the start of the video, but I'll say it again now. Be warned, they haven't told us yet, that I know of anyway, but apparently if they do the same thing as they did at the European Championships, you will be told that you need to submit your deck list by 7 PM on the Friday. And in doing so, if you fail to do so, you will get a round 1 game loss. But basically make sure you register on the Friday if you can. I can't imagine they're going to stick to that. They have to let people register on the Saturday. Otherwise, you know, people are just going to get pissed. Yeah, I probably should have activated Tantalizing Tune first, but this should probably really be a Prosperity. So, yeah, go digging on that one. There we go. Sarah, why won't you love me, Sarah? Activate Tantalising Tune. Discard 1, draw 2. My mellow. It's the reason I don't want to play you at 3. God damn. Still playable though, because you go Arachnocamper, set a trap, probably set Holotia. So we go Holotia. I really like trap tricks like that. And what I mean by like this, trap tricks, structure decks like this, Jesus, that really do get what the deck's missing. Like the Dark World, really good deck for the deck. This, really good upgrades. So all kind of makes sense. Activate the Holotia, discard, set, effect, Sarah, trigger. Sarah will trigger and search. It's not really a trap pile I want to bring back though, to be fair. I found another target for Brand Expulsion. Do you know Yasha the Skeleton Mayakashi? I do know of the Mayakashis, yes. I don't know of that exact one. Let's have a look. What is it called? It is Yasha the Skeletal Mayakashi. Yeah, so the reason that people play the Gimmick Puppet Nightmare is because it can be sent off of the dragon, the dust dragon. So that's why people play that, because it's a more consistent way of getting it to the graveyard and looping it around that way. It's dark and right at the start locks you into Mayakashis. Yeah, so it's a good card. The issue is getting it to the graveyard, because like you don't really, we're past the point where you're activating Branded Fusion to send Ras Disciple, and we're past the point where you're activating Branded Fusion to send the Gimmick Puppet. Like you're saving the Gimmick Puppet to be sent off of your Dust Dragon and then trying to use it that way. So okay, it's currently 8:30, so we'll probably give it about 15 more minutes and then we'll wrap it up. So anything more, keep it coming. This hand is broken. Love it. Guy in second, evenly matching you. If not, we're going to normal summon up Pudaka. Pudaka as fact. We'll then search out the field spell. I kind of really want to put this together as well, just because, well, I think more people are prepared for trap tricks than anything else. Activate the field spell. Field spell will give me an additional normal summon. Nice. And I've got the Mantis. It's like the broken combo. Going to link this into Sarah. I was going to say, where's my third Sarah? There we go. So Sarah, and then we're going to normal summon Mantis. We're going to use Mantis effect, and she's going to send me out Arachnocamper. We're going to use Sarah's effect. Sarah's effect can set me a Holotia. Not that I need to use Holotia yet. We'll activate Shade Breeding. We'll activate the Shade Breeding. We'll trigger Sarah's effect. Yeah, sure. Sarah's effect will special summon out. Try and think if this is my version with. No, it's not. She can summon out. Don't want Dynea out of the deck right now. No. We'll get my Mellow out. Just a brief explanation as to why you cut Albaz to 2 and Lubellion to 1 in the main deck. Albaz has never been more than 2. I've tried it. Like I conceptualized it being at 3, but I never really got it to 3. 2's just seemed to work fine. Lubellion to 1, that's just what everyone else is doing, basically. Everyone else is doing it to 1. I was like, okay, let's see how it works at 1. It works okay. For my personal playstyle, I still like it at 3. But Lubellion at 1, it's just is what it is, because like before you were up in the tier matchup, so you were like, cool, if I see a Bysteel in my hand, I'm in a good space. Whereas now it's kind of like if I see a Bysteel in my hand, I have to wait till my turn to activate it anyway. So I mean, I still like it. I think that so many people have now shut off Bysteels and don't even care about them and like, Bysteels aren't a thing. That if you do successfully get to resolve them against your opponent, you're in a good space. The other thing as well is that bicycles are completely dead against cash tiers because there's never any lights or darks in the graveyard to be used. So, you talked about the structure decks, both Dark World and Tratrix. They are still missing one support card because normally they get one more card in another set after. Hey, don't get it wrong. If we get another Dark World, another Tratrix, I am all go for it. I think they're just announcing cards for the next core set that the OCG are getting, so hopefully we'll see it in there. If not, we might see it in the last set of the year, which would be really, really kind of cool. Okay, so where am I currently sitting? So we've got this, we've got this, got this. I've used Sarah's effect, just sat me that, which summoned this, which is fine. Which means I can, what am I on? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I'm on 5 now already. Woof. Don't kill me. Don't Nibiru me. Think, Dale. Use your brain. I don't want to use my brain. There we go. We'll go Redoer because we can. We'll go Arachnocamper because we can. We'll go Rafflesia because we can. I mean, I could have activated Holotia, but I suppose I've got these in case they break my board. I've still got nice non-target bounce. I've got any of the trap ball cards. I've got a banish. Yeah, I've like put a card. What about the bicycles in the side for the road deck? Issue is, what road deck is light and darks? Consistently light and darks. That is the big question. Like Tratrix, all earth, never gonna happen. Even the Sprite matchup, they're not that great in because they don't have Elf, so they're not looping stuff back from the grave. Trying to think what else you'd consider as rogue. Generators, they don't have many lights that you really want to be hitting. Mardell, doesn't matter if you get rid of that. Hela, doesn't matter if you get rid of that. I mean, there's more lights because of Nibiru, arguably. You can probably argue that. So, Cyber Dragons, I mean, I feel Cyber Dragons have been adapted more to be aggressive. So they're much more OTK orientated than they are. What I do love about Cyber Dragons though is the idea of going special summon down Cyber Dragon. They don't have the materials to banish with Rise Art and you just contact fuse. That's some funny stuff. So yeah. New structure deck is Jack Atlas, yep, which is really cool. I can't wait to see that. I'm hoping we're going to get some generic synchros. I reckon we will get definitely a brand new Hot Red, which will be amazing, and one brand new Resonator. But I'm hoping the spell we get is going to be something like generic synchro support. And what I mean by that is like special summon, well maybe special summon a tune for that. I would love us to get a card that lets you synchro from the deck, but locks you into synchros for the entire turn. Something like that, I don't know. But then that gets broken for something like Sword Soul or anything else. It'd be really, really cool, kind of cool to see. Yeah. I mean, I suppose Dragon Link, I'll take that back actually. Dragon Link could be considered a rogue deck. But again, even then, like I don't think there's enough cards that you're banishing from their graveyard to make the Byseals worthwhile. Like, it's very, very tricky. Come on, generator. 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 No generator. Wow. Wow, this hand sucked. So I'm going to set that. I mean, I suppose it's not the end of the world because then... set during down set, so they draw for turn, activate boss stage effect. I can obviously set the legacy if I want to as well. It's not so bad. Not so bad. God, I need to break this deck around a little bit, change it up. Still very fun though. Really enjoy generators. What else can be considered as a road deck? Heroes. Heroes don't have that many targets. Ninjas. Ninjas don't have that many targets. Sword Soul. Sword Soul don't have that many. Ooh, I like the idea of summon limit. Oh yeah, I'll give you that one. So yeah, I think summon limit can be very damaging. Very, very damaging. But I also like the idea. I feel like the best floodgate. So the way I look at this, right, is when you're looking at something like summon limit, I instantly look at Tikaboo, Gozen, and Rivalry, because I feel they're stronger. Because one thing that a lot of people will just overlook is that Summon Limit is not a board breaker, but technically Tikaboo, Gozen and Rivalry are board breakers if your opponent is playing ranged. Because then if they're playing a ranged deck, or in Tikaboo's example they're playing a mono deck, if you flip that on them and they've got 5 monsters, they can sometimes have to reduce it down to 1. And you're not destroying them, you're not targeting them, you are forcing your opponent to reduce their board numbers to 1. And even if they have a monster that is unaffected by trap cards, it's not the trap card, quite like Evenly Matched, it's not the trap card that's affecting the monster, it's the trap card that is affecting the opponent. So the thing is, there is so much potential with decks depending the driver. Yeah, I agree. The pilot is very, very important to the deck, because you can net deck any deck you see online, but if you don't know how to pilot the deck, you ain't gonna do nothing. You'll do nothing. So yeah, the pilot is just as important, which is why I always say learn your deck. Make sure you know how fast you can play your deck and how quickly you can adapt depending on what your opponent drops on you. So Dragunities, Gotties and Infernities. I've not played any of those. I've played Gotties a little bit, not the biggest fan. Never got into Infinities either. Infernoids, Blackwings and Speedroids, now that's my stuff. Only recently started playing Blackwings, which is, I've quite enjoyed it. Yes, I'm a little bit rusty on the first profile, okay? The profile wasn't the best. It's one that I conceptualized, and obviously without experience, yeah, I got that a little bit wrong. Infernoids are really fun. I really enjoy Infernoids. Not as much as Carl. Carl loves Infernoids. Yeah. Speedroids. I really do enjoy Speedroids. So, Chaos Emperor Dragon. Now you're talking my language. I considered sales ban, but the ultimate spice, ladies and gentlemen, is this card right here. This is it. This is what you want. So, where is Sales Ban? I've got both. Sales Ban is probably a little bit easier to find as well, but I think Noah Green's kind of popped the popularity of that one. Got a combo cross out for some funny reasons. So, both of them declare one card name. Sales Ban is for the rest of this turn, your opponent cannot activate cards or the effects of cards with the same original name as that declared card. Anywhere. Absolutely anywhere. Prohibition. Cards with that name and their effects cannot be used, and this is old text, keep in mind, so technically cannot be activated. In general, anywhere. Cards already on the field are not affected. That is the only downside to that in comparison to this. Whereas the downside of Sales Ban is the same restrictions apply to you, but for the rest of the duel instead. So, where does Prohibition become better than Sales Ban? Well, quite simply, I'm up against Kashtira's. Activate Prohibition, I call Kashtira Unicorn, Kashtira Fenrir, Theosis, Kashtira Shangri-La, Kashtira Nibiru, Kashtira Nibiru. In the branded matchup, not in the mirror, but in a branded matchup, Prohibition, call Branded Fusion. Watch them squirm. So imagine this, right? Imagine my opening hand is, I'm just going to be very basic. Let's say my opening hand is this, right? In theory, you could go Prohibition, call Ash Blossom, and you go, right, that's going for 100%. Bigger brain plays. Activate Branded Fusion, you don't get ashed. You make your full board, full combo, and then you go, and you know you're in the mirror match. Prohibition, Branded Fusion. LOL. Like, you're going to have Mirror Jade, you're going to have, like, your Expulsion play, and then you're going to lock your opponent out from playing Branded Fusion. It's like, yo, you ain't doing nothing. You'll do nothing. I just think Prohibition, like, the only weakness of Prohibition is that they can MST and pop it. But the benefit of Prohibition is it stops it for all the turns going forward. So, and in when you're not in the mirror, that's when it becomes like more important. So, yeah, that's I prefer Prohibition over Sales Ban, but I see the argument for it the other way. It's entirely up to you. I'm not, not saying there is a right or a wrong answer. It's entirely up to you on your personal play style. And if you can get access to them, I would personally choose Prohibition over Sales Ban. So, because it's also like a double bluff. Is you could activate Prohibition, call Nibiru, and your opponent gets rid of this, and you just go, okay, well, you've unlocked your Nibiru, but you've also unlocked my Nibiru. Ha! Get dunked on, biatch. Yeah. So, if you can find Prohibitions in time, you're more than welcome to steal my tech. But that's just, that's my personal preference. I've lost the Prohibition. Where have I put it? I'll tell you what I'll do before I go to bed on this one is I'll do a branded test hand. God, I love playing branded. Such a fun deck. But it's in here, isn't it? Denko, Jinzo, Frost. Yeah, there it is. Come on, where are you? Yeah, Prohibition. Showing off all my tips and techs and... Yeah, Prohibition, it's such an old card. I remember playing it way back when against flipping Cosmo. I called Dart Destroyer. God, that card was annoying as well, but it was funny. I love when retro cards, more so retro cards that I own, become slightly relevant and playable. So, what are we at? 8:45. Alright, in 15 minutes we are going to call it a wrap, and I'm going to go hit the hay, and I'm going to be out like a light, because I'm dying here. So, shuffle it up. Like I said, if you've got any more questions in regards to getting prepared for a big event, then just let me know. I kind of zoom the camera out a little bit more. You can see the top of my laptop. Not that it makes much of a blooming difference. Swords of Concealing Light instead of book. Arguments are made for everything, to be honest. So, book over Concealing Lights. Well, Concealing Lights can only be activated during your turn. Book can be activated during either player's turn. Book of Eclipse can be stopped by Ash. Book of Lunar Eclipse needs you to have a discard. Book of Moon targets. So you've all got pros and cons. The fact, like, if someone's argument to me is, I'm not playing Book of Eclipse, and I go, why? Because it loses to Ash. Okay, so what are you playing instead? I'm playing Book of Moon. Okay, well, Book of Moon loses to a monster that can't be targeted. Then what? It's like, come on. Give me that lame-ass excuse. I'm not playing Book of Eclipse because it loses to Ash. Or I'm not playing Book of Eclipse because someone told me it loses to Ash and it's not a good card because everyone's playing Ash. Yeah, so what? You're telling me that you're relying on Book of Eclipse to win you a game, and you're worried that they're going to Ash it. Like, if they've got the Ash, they've got the Ash. Suck it up. It happens. But, like, bro, really? I am all for people playing different reasons. Absolutely fine. But have logical justification behind it. Okay? If you like, literally, I'd rather someone say to me, I just prefer Book of Moon. I just prefer Book of Moon. I would then state my argument. I'd say, alright, fair enough, but I feel Book of Eclipse is better because it's non-target and it flips all monsters down. And then they can come back and go, yeah, but I don't want to flip all monsters down. I generally prefer Book of Moon. It works my playstyle better. Alright, fair enough. Don't go, it loses to Ash. And then when I explain, well, okay, but they have to have the Ash to do it, don't be like, yeah, but they'll always have it. It's like, okay. How would you fit in lunch? I remember the last one was no time at all. Yeah, you won't get time. Go to, so like I was saying at the start of the video, in the Excel, so in the Excel itself, during the foyers around the middle, there's loads of little vendors. So, like I say vendors, there's loads of hot food places. So there's like a Subway in there. I'm not sure if they're all going to be active. They may or may not. There's a Costa in the middle. If not, what I highly advise you to do is right out the front of the Excel, there's a Tesco's. So I'd go and get like a meal deal in the morning, and leave that in your bag. And then when you have a break during, there won't be an official break, but when you get time to have a break, you'll have sweets and everything else like that. See, so I'll get to you in a minute. I'll go on. Princess, I like book better due to it being a quick effect and can target my own monster. Yep, fine. I mean, Lunar Eclipse does it for 2, but you need the discard. And then Eclipse doesn't target and will do both players' cards. So yeah. So I just don't like to give my opponent's cards. Completely valid. However, if you're activating Eclipse and you let them draw cards off of it, you're doing something wrong. Now what I mean by that is, number 1, you have to remember if your opponent's activated Pot of Prosperity, you are laughing because they cannot draw cards. So they will not be allowed to draw cards off of the back of Book of Eclipse, which is funny as hell. On top of that as well, if you activate Book of Eclipse as an aggressor to break an opponent's board, you should only be activating it if you can clear their board. If you activate and you cannot clear their board, you deserve to lose that one. So keep that in mind. Yeah, Pack Lunch is better. There's food courts there, but they're just expensive. Like, because it's convenience. There's not a lot around it. Like, you've got the O2 across the river, which if you're staying there, I do advise people to go over there for like a Saturday dinner or something. Especially if you're not London based, to go over to the O2 is always awesome. So, anyway, shuffle this up and let's do a test and see how awake my brain is at the moment. Kit, Aluba, oh yeah, we're good. Eclipse, Albaz. Why? Like, just stay in the deck, bro. I mean, I can put you back in the deck with the rest of this. I mean, this does suck. I mean, it doesn't suck in Imperm. Like, I can play around Imperm. Imperm, suck it. You can make food at home, prepare it to bring you events, cheaper that way. Yeah, it is. But then it's like, do you want to be making food to last for 3 days when you could just go Tesco's for £3.50? £3.50 meal deal all the way. Well, I would say other grocery stores or other shopping markets are involved. You can involve it with paper or aluminum. Yes, you can. Anyway, Aluba, Chain Imperm. Get Book of Eclipse, boy. Fastest, boy. Our leftover pizza is like love for the next day. So, anyway, what am I doing? Think. We're going to go unopposed because, I mean, if they've got Ash Blossom, I cry inside. But it is what it is. If they've got it, they've got it. If they get a one of their 3 ofs in their opening hand of 5, which if they're playing a 40-card deck is whatever mathematic kind of equation, then so be it. So, do I want to go? Which route do I want to go? Spring Guns Kit can do one for me. Do I want access to that? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Let's go with this. Let's go with this. One question. And one question only. If you had one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted, just let it go. Would you capture it? Or just let it slip? What if there's a dude playing Gate Guardian at the event and you face him? I'd actually have a lot of fun, to be fair. I know there is a Gate Guardian FTK. I haven't seen the Gate Guardian FTK as much as I would like to. But, yeah, I've got no issue with Gate Guardian, to be fair. I quite like the idea of it. I think it would be fun. Lubellion's effect. I envy you. Oh, look at that. I can get Dragoon, boy. I've even put Dragoon in here. No, my Dragoon is floating with my Dark Magician stuff somewhere. Scoop, just because they're playing Gate Guardian. You go, you, sir, deserve the win just by playing Gate Guardian. And scoop. Where do I want to go? Usually it's Lubellion to Albion. I mean, I still have plays to make. I suppose we'll go Dragoon. Such a shame because you want to do the fuse while you still have... I really want to play Branded Gate Guardian. I'm waiting for my Gate Guardian stuff to turn up so that I can experiment and kind of build loads of different options. I suppose what I could do is I could spin this back and spin this back. No, it's only the Thunder one that's light. You got Thunder, so light, Thunder, which is light, Wind, Suijin, and then Kazujin, I believe, something like that. So if this becomes Dragoon, and then Lubellion does this, Lubellion's effect will activate. Oh, I could have done it. Could have been very, very good. Messing around with a Usarctic Gate Guardian. Ah, you disgust me. The irony is, the same person at my locals that played Usarctics and drew like 7 cards or however much was, is the same guy that then went, oh, I'm going to play Thur-Hire Runic to draw 8 cards. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Kazujin Wind, Suijin Water, and Sanga is light. It's such a, like, why couldn't it have been like, it needed to be a Jin. Why is it like, it works, it kind of messes with OCD. It's like, Kazujin, nice. Suijin, nice. Sanga. It's like, okay. Why couldn't it have been like, Sanijin? I know that doesn't work, but Kazujin, Suijin, Anijin? I don't know. Yeah. So if this is Dragoon, we've activated Branded Lost off of the back of Lubellion. We're going to special summon down the Kit. Kit's effect is going to go off to let us search. She needs to search out a fusion card, which is fine. So she can search out Theatre, because that would be funny. I could use Branded in White, doesn't really make much of a difference to be fair. Right, we'll go Theatre. Activate Theatre. Theatre's effect to fuse. Let's zoom this out. There we go. Sorry, put both of the clips back. Theatre's effect to fuse. Fusing these two. INVU. Effect of Branded Lost. I suppose the only issue I've got now is that I don't have Dragoon protection until the end phase, but it's what it is, you get me? Cartesia. Special Cartesia, because you've got Albas in the graveyard. Shadow Ghoul and Tank into 3 Gate Guardian combined. Yeah, I love the fact that you can go Magician's Souls, send Suijin. No, not Suijin, sorry, Kazujin. That's already a funny one as it is. But yeah, I can't wait for the cards to turn up because I can't wait to fully test them. It's going to be super, super fun. Grignol's effect's going to go off, and Grignol's effect will send RNVU. There's no way my opponent plays through this. Where are you? No expulsion. Send the Gimmick Puppet. And then we'll move to the end phase. In the end phase, Cartesia will come back to the hand, so I can do loop the loop with all of the effects, and then expulsion will hit the board, and then we shuffle up, and then we pass our opponent. And then we activate expulsion, and then we summon back Gimmick Puppet to our opponent's field, summon back a Luba effect, Gimmick Puppet effect, Luba's effect gets you Branded Fusion. This is gonna get game. It's gonna be game over. We got Dragoon, yeah. This happens when I get really tired. I like the field spell. The field spell is basically like a Kaiser Coliseum if you're playing Cash Dares, which is really funny. So yeah. Gotta love it when you end a test hand like this. Wonder try and call the winning deck. Do I want to try and call the winning deck? Does anyone know what won the London Open? I still don't even know what won the London Open. I kind of want Branded to win it because I think that'd be really cool. I think the last deck that was a lore deck. Oh no, Tier Elements and lore deck one though. Just Tier Elements was a lore deck. I just wanted I quite like the World Chalice when World Chalice won. Was it a YCS that World Chalice won? That was really kind of cool. That was really cool to see that. I want Branded to win it, but I think it's going to be Cash. Oh, no way. Tractrix won the London Open, is that what you're saying? Or is Tractrix your guess of what's going to win YCS? I think Tractrix winning YCS is a bit fetched, but could be done. If it won the London Open though, damn, that's quite cool. Anything can win. Remember, Prank Kids won out of nowhere. Nah, Prank Kids had an insane pilot. Ah, sad. OTS Championship. Yeah, I don't know who won the London Open. I haven't seen it yet, but... Okay, it is now bang on 9 o'clock, so I am going to turn in because I am absolutely dying. Thank you. Oh, hello. Thank you to... Is that a smaller sleeve? I think I'm losing my mind. Oh no, that's definitely a smaller sleeve. That goal needs to be changed. Yeah, thank you to every single one of you that joined me watching this. Like I said, if you do have any questions at all, please put them in the comments below. We've got Facebook that you are more than welcome to reach out to us on. We've also got Instagram as well. So, yeah, do you know Fusion Conscription? I do know Fusion Conscription. So, sadly. Kashmir. What's Kashmir? Is that supposed to be Cashtira? Asked about the 2 to 3 card combo. I still haven't figured it out. No, not without getting specific one-offs. Like specific one-offs is a bit sucky. It definitely involves the kit. Like we literally just did one actually that got me everything. But I think it ended up being like a 5 card combo. Rough. I did try and search for it as well, and there wasn't really any that popped up. So I don't think it's actually possible. Without, like, I do not rate a combo that says, oh, here you go, you can end your board on Dragoon and Mirror Jade, but you need these 3 specific one-offs. It's like, you need to see Dark Magician in your hand, you need to see... 1 for 1, for example, and you need to see this. It's like, bruh, that's not a combo. That is bullshit. I am going up on the Friday. Yeah, I'm going to go down Friday early. I think I'm going to get the train down. I'm going to go around the vendors. I'm going to go around the vendors before the first side events rock up, and then I'll play a side event, see how that goes. See if I want to make any changes. I really don't want to. I want to just submit my list and be done with it. And then work back from there. So, it's too far for you to participate. That's sad. The irony is, Nats is the same place, Jack. It's the same place. It is the London XL. And it is happening at the same time that Comic-Con is happening. And, if you didn't know this, but Eric Stewart, who is Kaiba, voice actor, is also going to be at Con. So he is at the Con. So you'll go down for Nats, and then they might do the same deal that they've done in previous years, where you get entry to the Con. But I could be wrong. But, yeah, so if you have any Blue Eyes stuff that you want to get signed, you can go and pay to get that done, which would be dope. Like, I want to see, I might get my... I've got a Blue Eyes White Dragon pop But my friend's got a Kyber one, bastard. So I want to try and get that done for him. And then I might get Blue Eyes signed. Seems about right to get Blue Eyes signed. It'd be kind of cool. But yeah. Eric Kyber Stewart will be at Nats. So yes. I'll give it a couple of minutes, as the delay on this is a couple of minutes. I don't think it's a couple of minutes, it's about 30 seconds, I think. Slow Walk started following you. Oh, I thank you. What's wrong with some people? Yes. Should I go get my hedgehog? That'd be funny, wouldn't it? I don't think my girlfriend will let me get my hedgehog down. Don't really want him to pee on my mat either. Even though it's got protection. Just sit there, he'll look at me and be like, why have you woken me up? And he'll be like, I'm going back to bed. And then he'll pee on my mat and walk away. So, yeah, I'm now tired and delusional. So, I'm just rambling. You're welcome, guys. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you, Angel. Thank you, Jack. Argaron. Thank you, Chaos Emperor Dragon. I am more than happy to answer any questions. Chaos, if you see me down there, I know there's like 3,600 people. By all means, come say hi. It's always nice to catch guys, catch individuals that support the channel. God, my brain right now. Jesus. I'm hoping once I'm feeling a bit better that I'll be able to do more streams. I want to do, now that I know the consistency works or my internet works, it'll be nice to do streams on like Tuesdays and Thursdays. Just kind of break it up, and then it gives me ways of being able to talk to you guys live, and then help you with any advice, help you answer any questions, and you know, everything else like that. I don't want to be that type of YouTuber that's just like, oh yes, I'm so busy that I can't answer your questions. I will not help you. I want to be able to kind of help everyone improve, help everyone just understand the game better, enjoy the game better, find different ways. Like one thing that me and my friends used to be able to do, which we haven't been able to do as much lately, is Phantom Lights. Is we used to do this. We used to call it services because we would basically go to a service station, and there used to be free parking. Not anymore, but there used to be free parking, and we would go there and we would play what we would call as a multi-way, and it's basically just an all v all. You'd sit around a table, and what made it so good is that you would play different decks. Because with a multi-way, if you played a meta deck, you would get ganged up on, and they would knock you out. Like Jordan was the worst for it, because Jordan would play like Final Countdown and Skill Drain, and wonder why people ganged up to eliminate him from the tournament. It was like, bro, what are you doing? But you would play different decks, and it was one of the decks where I could actually play Noble Knights. Because you needed to start playing grind decks, and decks that were good in the grind gave you the ability to hold out a little bit longer. Oh, where's my Dragoon? No! I'm going to throw my Dragoon. So they let you hold out a little bit longer, which is really, really kind of cool. So, can I ask you something? Can you, if it's possible, list all the decks? List all of what decks? Ha! The participating event! Bro, you're killing me. You want me to list 3,600 decks? Hell no. I'm happy to help you, but not something that is going to wreck my vocal cords apart. I don't even think I'll find out. Ooh, sorry. I don't even think I'd find out. Yeah, no, I've got 2, sadly. I say sadly. It was my bad decisions at the start. Yeah, I don't think I'd find out all 3,600 decks. we'll definitely get that. There will definitely be a breakdown. I can always guarantee you that. So there's Dragon Knight. There's my first Dragoon. There's Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, Winder, App Clone, Dark Sleen. Oh, I'm gonna have fun putting this together tomorrow. If I see any unique decks that are there, I will. I'm gonna try it, and I can't guarantee this because every time I get a press pass to go and do the recordings and everything, I'm just like knackered, absolutely knackered, because it's 3 days of just full on dueling. Oh, I bet he's amongst this lot. Is he amongst this lot? No. Big Sag. Yeah, I want to try and get more duels from the event. That'd be not duels. More profiles from the event, because I think that'd be really kind of cool. Yes, too many spare sleeves. I'll tell you what, I will officially end this stream the second that I find Dragoon. So you have until then to ask me any more questions, because as soon as I find Dragoon, that's it. I don't think I'm going to sleep until I find Dragoon. So, he's my baby. Any final questions? Now is the time as I scurry through. It's what I get for just putting cards to one side. But then it's also what I get for having too many cards. MVU. Ah, is that you there? No, that's Artemis. Come on, Goonie boy. Oh, Secret Ashes. There he is. Cool, that's it. Done, dusted, sugar and coated. Right, thank you so much. Streams for 24 hours. God damn it! Where's my goddamn Dragoon? Cool. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it. Have a very good evening, and I will catch you all. Catch you on the next one. All right. Take care, guys. Happy dueling, and good night.